Hello, my name is Lindey, and I'm a primate keeper here at the Nashville Zoo. So I work with all of our primate friends here at the zoo.
Hello, I'm John Rossi. I'm a touring drummer with a passion for animal conservation. When I'm on the road, I spend as much time as possible visiting zoos, aquariums, and conservation organizations. Now, I want to share those places with you. I'll be talking to keepers, vets, conservationists, anyone who can help me in my mission of connecting my people to animals through their people. Join me on my Rossifari.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Rossifari podcast. Y'all, this is the start of a couple of episodes that I recorded in Nashville at the Nashville Zoo. It also represents a couple of episodes where I'm bringing back guests that I've had on the podcast before, but we're going to be talking to them in a new capacity, and I am so excited about that. So this week you're going to be hearing from Lindey, and you may recognize the name from a previous episode, but not from this facility. And I'll let Autumn tell you all about that. But before we get to that, a quick reminder to make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast. Make sure that you're following along on social media at Rossifari or on TikTok at Rossifari Pod. And this episode, it's a good one, y'all. We have a really great chat. And then at the end, I got a very big surprise that I'm very excited to share with all of you. So without further ado, here is my interview with Lindey of the Nashville Zoo. The name is familiar to some listeners, I'm sure, but you're at a different location now. So how long have you been here at Nashville?
Yeah, so I've been here just over a year, started in May of last year.
Awesome. And the last time that we spoke, first of all, thank you for reaching out and wanting to come back on. I'm very excited about this.
Yeah, of course.
The last time that we spoke, you were at Chattanooga. And so can you just give a little reminder to the listeners about what you did at Chat?
Yeah, so I was more of a generalist there, taking care of a lot of small mammals, mostly small carnivore critters. But I had worked with lemurs at one of my first jobs and really loved them and wanted to get back into primates. So I was ready to kind of move on from Chat, and a primate position opened up here, and it wasn't too far away from family that I have in Chat. So decided to come up here and get back into working with primates.
Nice. And that's actually something I was wondering about. So like Chattanooga and Nashville aren't that far apart, but like, did you have to uproot yourself and like move and everything, or do you just have a heck of a commute, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we moved. My boyfriend actually also works here too as a keeper.
Nice.
So we moved together. And so he's a different department, but we moved, live in Murfreesboro. So it's about, an hour commute here every day in traffic.
That's not bad. I actually have a friend who lives there. I feel like Murfreesboro, Tennessee is just not a place that maybe outside of Tennessee anyone's ever heard of. And you said that. I'm like, oh, my friend Chanda lives there. That's weird. Yeah. So small world.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. All right. So I'm curious, you said that you came here because you wanted to work with primates, but I'm always curious. I know you had some really great relationships with the animals at Chattanooga and stuff. So what was it like to make that decision, and just what was that entire transition like for you? And then especially going into even just like starting at a new, zoo.
I mean, it's always hard. I've jumped around a lot in my career. I've been doing this for over a decade now. So, but some of my favorite animals have passed since then. Sophie Fox, who we talked about last time a lot, has since passed.
I know. And I appreciate you telling me that, because meeting Sophie was a highlight. That was so cool. Fennec foxes are what we're talking about here. And that was a really special moment for me. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, she was the best.
She was the best. Yeah. But go ahead with what you were saying.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's always kind of hard, but it was just, I hope to be a curator one day. So just kind of needed to keep getting more experience. So I felt like I'd been there for a while, done kind of what I needed to do. It also kind of been kind of a swing there at the end. So worked with all of the animals. So I felt like I had a good ground to kind of move on. But, it was sad to say goodbye to people and animals, but excited to work with primates. They're really intelligent, so we can do a lot more with them. They're very challenging, which is something I was kind of looking for for myself, just to do more of a challenge. Working with them, they're very smart. They try to trick you. They try to, best you, but they're fun just the same.
That makes sense. I'm going to ask a weird question now, but there's a reason. What is your least favorite type of primate?
Oh, that we have here or in general?
No, in general.
Oh, gosh.
Although you do have a lot of them here, at least in my opinion, but then they leave and then they come back and then they leave. This is a leading question. My least favorite type of primate is humans.
That's fair. That is fair.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah.
No, and I'm saying that all joking aside, though, because I do feel like, as we go into and talk about the different primates that you're taking care of here and stuff, I think it's important to remember / realize / think about the fact that, like, we're talking about our distant relatives, and in some cases not so distant relatives here. And I think that gives it a different perspective than when you're talking about a fennec fox or, red panda or whatever.
Yeah, you can definitely see, some of our traits in them. Just things they do, especially we have a lot of babies right now, and you can just see the parallels to your own children or other kids, just how development is very similar.
That's really interesting. And that's right. You are a parent, yes?
I am, yes.
Yes. Tell me about your own human primate.
I have a 5-year-old. She'll be 6 in October, but her name's Bella. So she's the family in Chattanooga still. So have to be close to her. But yeah, it's fun to watch her grow and see some of the same things. Also, she gets away with less because I'm used to dealing with animals that scream at me and want things. And so she can't get away with anything because it's just easy to tune it out.
That's fair. Yeah, I have found that my parenting style, so my son is 8, he'll be 9 in August. And in the last 3 years, as I learned about animal training, it has really influenced my parenting style a lot. And I find that I am able to literally stop myself when something is happening and being like, rather than like, oh, why are you doing this? Which, I mean, parents, it's going to happen. Like, we're all human.
Yeah.
But I do find that, like, if I can literally stop and be like, all right, what antecedent did I set up? Did I set this up for success? What, if I can take that step back, just like you do if you're doing training and it's not going well, it can have a really positive impact. And I think that's really cool. I think that probably some of the best adjusted kids out there are going to be the ones that are raised by keepers and trainers and such.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, we don't have like clickers, but I mean, it's the same. It's the same thing. It's the same type of training. It's just with a person instead of an animal.
Am I not supposed to be using a clicker with Miles? Am I doing this wrong?
I mean, I think what works.
Fair. All right. So let's talk about some of the non-human primates that you're taking care of at the zoo right now. So yeah, go. Just what's your favorite? What's your favorite species to work with here?
Oh gosh, favorite species here. The spider monkeys are probably favorite. They're just really fun. They're really interactive with us too. They have big personalities. We have a little over 1-year-old Dottie, and she's just hilarious. Just the way she plays with stuff, and the way she's figuring out how her hands move and how her tail works. It's just really fun. So they're probably one of my favorites. But we also have the oldest white cheek gibbon in human care.
Nice.
Her name is Muffy. She's 54.
Oh my gosh.
She's our pride and joy of our team. So she lives behind the scenes because she's, arthritic. She's old. But she has the best setup. She got the penthouse suite. Part of our routine when you're working with her is literally just to hang out with her because she is a singly house primate. So we just sit, we give her scratches, give her all the stuff she needs. So she's probably everyone's favorite a little bit just because she's so sweet and old. And how can you not love her?
That's awesome. Tell me a little bit more about like her personality and like, I know you've been here for like a year, but how long she's been here and all that stuff?
She's been here, I don't actually know.
If you don't know a number, has it been like a while or has it been like, she came here for retirement kind of?
No, she's been here for a long time.
Nice. Okay, that's awesome.
I think she came here from Disney when she came, and she's had one offspring here. So Singwa, the blonde gibbon on exhibit, is her daughter.
Okay.
And then she's also surrogate mom to 3 other gibbons. So,
oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. I love too that a Disney star who is named Muffy and lives in the penthouse suite and has keepers that just have to hang out and give me scritches. Yes. That's just, it's very old Hollywood, only in a gibbon. So that's pretty great. I like that a lot.
Yeah, she really is. Like, she is very personable. She has like smushy face, scrunchy face when she like doesn't like stuff. Or if you like actually do something she doesn't like, she's very like skeptical looking at you. And but she makes her little like noises that she makes when she comes over when she really likes you or what you have. Mostly, novel food items are a big hit, and she'll make her little noises, which is really cute.
Aw, that is amazing. I love that. And I think, again, I know we talk about this stuff a lot on the pod, but I think it's always important to highlight the fact that like the zoo really doesn't get a like financial benefit from having Muffy and taking care of Muffy. Muffy is off exhibit. Muffy is, from a pure accounting standpoint, just a cost, right? No guests are going to go and see Muffy. No guest is going to have that special moment with Muffy. But because she lived a great life, because she is here and all animals matter, even though she's off exhibit, she has the best life, and the zoo and y'all just love her and take amazing care of her. And I love those kinds of things.
Yeah, we do. We try to sneak her into our Give and Keeper chat as much as possible because there are people that do remember her. Like they'll come and be like, Muffy. We last year, I think it was Singwa's birthday party. We had cards set up for Muffy, and people like signed them, and it was like a whole poster board of like well wishes for Muffy, even though she's not out and no one can see her. So she's a big star.
That's amazing, and that's the kind of thing too. I think like, you know, we talk about these animals being ambassadors for their species, and I think that just shows how much a single animal can have an impact. The idea that people are like asking about this one random, and we're not talking a polar bear here. We're not talking a tiger. We're talking a kind of tiny primate, you know?
Yep.
And yeah, that's, that just makes me really happy, honestly.
Yeah.
It sounds really cool. Awesome. Yeah. So tell me about more.
Yeah, so we have littlest edition is baby Penelope, red ruff lemur. So she's still behind the scenes right now, but hopefully getting big enough soon to go out on exhibit with her dad and uncle and then her mom. So, but mom and her are still behind the exhibit. But she's very cute, very bouncy. It's very interesting to see the development rates between, like, we had Contop Tamarin born last year, Oliver, who's pretty much full grown at this point, and he was very independent quickly, compared to Dottie, who's over a year, still very much an infant, and now Penelope's growth, and it's all three of them very different.
Interesting.
Which is cool. But she's going to be a sassy female lemur, it seems.
Nice. I have found, so when I was at the Lemur Conservation Foundation in Florida, I got to see some of their baby red ruffs that they had there that were, probably just under a year or right around a year. And they had triplets, and they were playing with each other. And it was a whirlwind. It was just nonstop insanity. I can't imagine what that's like.
Yeah, I could see that. We have like a tall shelf in the holding area, and she dropped like from top to bottom yesterday. I didn't know where she was, and then she was just on the ground. So she's just crazy and getting all like going everywhere and just being a baby.
That's awesome. That's very cool. How many red ruffs in general do y'all have?
Right now we have 2 boys, they're brothers who were born here, and then the mom and baby. So 4 total right now.
Okay. That's awesome. I have a special place in my heart for red ruffs. I don't know why. Most of the animals that I love, I have a very specific reason why I love them. And I just remember the first time that I saw a red ruff lemur, right? I was at the Bronx Zoo, and I was like, oh, okay. I like you a lot. And it was in a mixed species exhibit, and I just kept staring at the red ruffs. I don't know.
They're really cool. Yeah. Like, because we have ringtails too. We just have a group of boys. Okay. Also very cool. But red ruffs, just something about them. They're a little bit more personable, I think, than ringtails. And I think because they're more rare for me, but I definitely prefer them. Don't tell the ringtails.
I won't. Don't worry. It's a secret.
But they're fun in their own right too.
Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, there's a weird thing where I tend to like animals that have striped tails, like red pandas and such. Like, it's just been a thing that I've noticed in my world. But when it comes to lemurs, give me the red ruffs every day, over the ringtails. It is what it is.
Yeah. They're just cute.
I feel like ringtail lemurs are kind of the basic of the lemur world too. Like, everyone, if you say the word lemur to most people, they're like, oh yeah, those gray monkeys with striped tails. And no, but yes, at the same time, that's what everyone thinks. So.
Yeah, they are the most common. So.
Yeah, but that's cool. Tell me about your bachelor herd.
Yeah, so we have 4 boys. They're one really old one, Doggo. He's 28.
Whoa,
so he's
that's
old
awesome.
Man, and then spattering, of ages from that. But they get along pretty well. We're not currently breeding facility for them since they're doing well in the SSP. So we just have our
since
boys.
You only have males.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
Yeah. People always ask, are you going to have ringtail babies? But they're doing really well as far as genetics go and diversity. So they just don't need another place right now. But we're happy with our boys. They're still fun and they still do ringtail lemur things.
That's cool. That's very cool. Actually, that leads to an interesting question, which is, you personally, as a keeper, do you prefer working with young, super old, or like median age? I don't know what the middle of that is. I guess we don't have a word for that. But yeah. So do you like working with like mostly babies, or do you like the really old ones, or do you just want the like kind of species example of the species?
Yeah, I have a place in my heart for the old ones. I tend to always gravitate towards the old ones, which is heartbreaking for me, but because then they die. But yeah, I think that's why Muffy, she's just so cute, and just cater to her. But yeah, I mean, the babies have been fun to watch. Don't get me wrong, but I usually tend to gravitate towards the old guys.
Yeah, I get that. No, I get that. There's something so. I don't know. I not to go down a really weird place, but just real quick. But like I lost my grandfather like a year ago, and my grandma a couple years before that. And I have a dog that's very old now, and I just tend to have found in the last couple of years that I tend to think a lot more about like end of life stuff and that kind of thing. And one of the things that has really helped me with that is just like, I don't know, seeing like old animals, like taking it outside of the human world and even domestic animals, and just seeing like my old animal zoo friends. Like there are a lot of, especially like red pandas that I got to know very late in their lives, and they're gone now. And it's always really hard, but like seeing the impact they had and being able to share some of their stories on here and stuff has helped me a little bit with, I think, my own journey through that, because I'm pretty sure that until my grandmother passed away, I secretly believed that everyone that I loved was immortal.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have said that. Actually, with my grandma, I kind of did say that she was crazy. I loved her. But in general, I think like when it actually happened, there was a part of me that was like, oh God, this is real. Like, oh, okay. And I think in this field, even just, being tangentially in this field like I am, you do have to get a certain kind of healthy understanding of life and death and the cycle of it. And getting to see all of it is probably pretty interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's right. I was really close with my grandma, so I don't know if that's why I like see these like Muffy, see like, oh yeah, my grandma used to make that face, like, or she used to, I feel like, thinking about like she probably felt that way too. So, but I don't know if that's why or if it's just me.
No, that makes sense. I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me. And I know. I remember when Nanny would always just lay there and ask me to scratch her belly. And no, I'm kidding. That got weird, but that's what we like to do on this podcast. But yeah, no, that's interesting to think about. Very cool. So let's step outside of primates for a second. And I'm just kind of curious about what you're finding the vibe like here at Nashville, because I don't know what I think about it, and I love it here, but I'm curious to hear just kind of your take on it.
Yeah, I really like it a lot. It's the biggest place that I've worked at. So starting out here was kind of like, whoa, like animals just like come and go, and like there's just places for them. And that was really weird for me because the first place I started was a very small museum. So that was not a thing. And chat was also pretty small. Yeah. So that was really cool. Also the transparency here is really nice. Like I feel very in the know, like from upper management, which is something I haven't always had. So, so far I don't really have any complaints. I mean, and we're growing, we have plans to grow in the future. So we are getting 2 new exhibits next year. Colobus monkeys and Nebraska monkeys are coming. So
really?
Yeah.
Okay. So Colobus. Well, let me talk about what you said, and then we'll get back to those actually, because that's really exciting. But I think that's really cool. And you hit on a word that is vitally important to me, and that we talk about on here all the time, which is the T word, transparency. And I really like that you feel that as a keeper. I think one of the things that I struggle with the most making this podcast is first of all, I was worried that zoos wouldn't be transparent enough to have an outsider come in and do this kind of thing. I actually expected this to maybe last 4 episodes. And here we are 3 years later, so I'll take it. But there is a push for transparency, which I think is really cool, both internally and externally when it comes to good accredited zoos. But I talk to a lot of keepers who feel like they don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. And it's actually interesting, as a member of the AZN, as a person with a lot of connections, I have actually told keepers about when their animals are moving for like SSP moves and stuff, which like is normally public knowledge. And they didn't know because like their curator didn't tell them. And that's always an awkward moment, but so I love that you feel like they're being transparent with y'all here. I think that is a really beautiful thing.
Yeah, like we even get like tag meetings, if it's like a Zoom call, we'll get the link so that we can watch it and just see the updates for ourselves, which is really great.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we sat as a team and watched P-Tag, the Persimmon tag. So it's been really great with that, just because I do feel like I know, at least in my department, obviously we're a little bit compartmentalized with the departments, but for primate stuff, especially, and like bigger zoo stuff, I definitely feel like I know what's happening, which is really nice.
That is really cool. All right. But let's get to the exhibits, because I can tell that you're excited. So yeah, tell me about this growth and how it's happening and just all the good stuff.
Yeah, so we're opening Leopard Forest. So it's gonna be really cool. There's going to be Amur leopards there.
You know that those aren't primates, right?
Yeah,
Just checking.
We're sharing a building with them.
Oh, okay.
Though,
No, that's
so,
really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, carnivore team will have one, half primate will have the other. And then we're getting colobus monkeys and DeBraz monkeys. So 2 new species to the zoo and to most of the team. So we're all really excited for a new species and new challenges and opportunities and whatever they're going to bring.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, I know that you're not working with them yet, so we can't ask for information about them. But just in general, I feel like colobus monkeys are not that common in zoos, and DeBrazas are like really not that common. I know I've seen them a few times, but I'm crazy and go everywhere. What are your thoughts on like what that will provide to the community and to like the people who come to the Nashville Zoo?
Yeah, I'm really excited because they aren't super common. I mean, I've definitely seen colobus places. I don't think I've ever seen DeBraza anywhere. So just new species, new conservation messaging, which will be great for those species, and hopefully breeding down the line. So, more babies is always great. We've been really lucky in the primate team that we've had a lot of babies. So hopefully that will continue with those guys when we get to that point, down the line. And just new exhibits, new fun things. And
so let's talk about the exhibits because we can't talk about the animals. So the how much input does the team have as like exhibits are getting planned and figured out and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so with these, the blueprints and stuff were done before most of the team got here. We had a big turnover, so most of our team's only been here for like a year and a half, 2 years at the most, and even our supervisor, so we weren't a part of any of that. But since then, like it's been, hey, come to the building, see this, or I'd be like, hey, are we gonna have cameras? And my supervisor's like, oh, let me ask, or can we have like a sink that you can spray out, like just those little things that it's like important to us that might not be important to a contractor. And so that's been really nice because she's like, yeah, immediately she's like, I'll ask for sure and I'll see, so we can get it put in now instead of like retroactively having to do stuff. So that's been really nice to see too, because I know there are places where keepers don't have any input.
None. And one of the reasons I asked about this is because I know from my very first interview ever on the Baby podcast with Jake was they were building a new ambassador animal building. And he was telling me about it and how keepers had input. And I was like, I was such a baby to this world. And I was like, all right, cool. Why does that matter? And he goes, well, let me give you an example. Our new building has drains in the floor that are below floor level. I was like, yes, that's what drains do. And he's like, you would think so. But in the previous building, which had been built a long time ago and we didn't have keeper input, the drains were above floor level. So to get things to drain, you have to like sweep it into the upper drain and like then it falls back down because gravity. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he's like, yeah, these things matter, but like the zoo really cares and really takes that into consideration, which I just think is the coolest. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, it really is the little things. Yeah. Drains being in a good place.
Sprayable sinks. Who knew?
Like I was like hot water heater. Are we going to be able to, have hot water for dishes and stuff? So it's like little things that you might not think of, or like higher level people might not think of, but the keeper's like, no, we need some hot water. Like, poop is sticky.
Yeah. Poop is sticky. It's very true. No, it makes so much sense to have everyone involved. And I think that's one of the things. And the reason I keep harping on this is not because there is a PR person sitting next to me glaring at me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not getting glared at by Mallory. She's awesome. But is because one of the things that I have found out, I've been talking to a lot of people about the pod and just trying to figure out like what my impact is, right? Because it's hard to say. I know what my numbers are, and that's about it. And one thing that I have found out is that a lot of keepers listen to this podcast specifically when they're looking to go to a new zoo or when they see that a position is open. They will go and listen to the episodes from that zoo of the podcast as a vibe check. Because it's one thing to see what a posting says or whatever. It's another thing to hear a keeper blab on for an hour and have me derail you with dumb things about my grandmother wanting me to scratch her belly or whatever. And to talk about the vibe and to talk about what the culture is like. And so I'm trying to feature more of that, especially when it's a zoo that I know has a good culture, which I know that Nashville does. So, you sharing that is not just important to my listeners who are trying to learn more about zoos and get an understanding of how all of this works, but also can actually impact people that are looking for new jobs and that want to know, what is this place really like? So I think that's really cool. And I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think that's the way that more zoos are moving. But I honestly think that even just in the 3 years that I've been doing this, it's just starting to change a little bit, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, it's a hard field. It's, people know each other and it's small and there's definitely work to be done in the field, but I definitely do see some positive strides. So hopefully it keeps trending that way.
Definitely. I think, I mentioned it a little bit with the parenting thing and with talking about the philosophy of death and everything. There's a happy podcast title. We'll call this The Philosophy of Death, right? But I just think that the stuff that goes into keeping and the stuff that y'all live with and deal with can actually really set you up to be in a really good, healthy space if it's handled properly and if you're able to process things properly and if your team works with you and your leadership works with you as opposed to fights you. Because like we talked about, you're learning about and dealing with a lot of things. There are constant surprises. There are constant changes. You're learning how to meet needs that can't be properly communicated. You're learning all kinds of crazy cool stuff about death and life and birth. And like, I think all of that is really important to having like a well-balanced kind of just take on life. But also then, like you said, it's really, really hard work. And there is a lot of challenge. And you're going to lose more things than you love in more things that you love in a year than most people will lose in their lifetime and stuff, you know? And I think there's an interesting balance there. And I'm kind of curious if you have any thoughts on like the best way to balance all of that and to come out of it from a healthy space.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I know it's talked about a lot, but that healthy work-life balance, which is someone who I'm a perfectionist and workaholic, but I realized I was doing all that because my personal life was not in a good space. And so I was taking on more and more just to kind of, you know, deal with it that way. And now that that's changed, I feel like I can leave work at work. I think also getting to a place if you can where you trust your teammates. You know, I don't go on my weekend and think that my team can't handle, you know, my areas when I'm not here. I know that they're going to handle it and whatever comes up, and then they'll let me know, you know, something's going on. But also work at a place where something is going on, you know, my supervisor will let me know. I can come in if I want. Like, it's not like, oh, well, you're off, so you don't get to be here.
Right.
So I know that, you know, always going to be in the loop with stuff like that. But yeah, I think just having a good team with you too, because when an animal dies, you know, we're all there.
Right.
Even if it's not your primary animal, everybody is there when it's going on and being very supportive, you know, whether it's a meerkat or a gibbon, it doesn't matter. Nothing's too small, you know, if someone's sad about it, you know, everybody's supportive. So, and even keeper culture here, you know, when another team's animal dies, you know, we're all chipping in for donuts or chipping in for lunch or cards, because we might not have worked with them, but we know they had a big impact on them. So we want to support them too, which is really nice here.
Nice. That's very cool. All right. Some of my listeners are loving this and some of them are like, will you tell me about another primate, please? So what other animals do you work with?
So we have our cotton-top tamarins, which is the bathroom exhibit.
Yes. Yes. So we talked about this way back in the day on one of my episodes about this, but in case people don't know, tell us about the bathrooms here because this zoo has the best bathrooms in the country.
Yeah. So we have a men's bathroom that has some pythons in it. I've never been in there, but I'm sure it's pretty cool.
It is. It is very cool. I can also say that I have snuck into the women's with when I was here with my wife, and we waited till the end of the day, and she checked to make sure it was clear. But I did see this exhibit, and it's very cool.
It happens all the time, so you're not the only one. Yeah, so we in our South America area, our cotton-top tamarins are in our bathrooms. So, which it's one of the nicest bathrooms at the zoo. So, you know, if you're looking for a place to go there and see our tamarins too. But yeah, we have a little family in there, mom and dad, and then 3 siblings right now. So, but they bounce around. It's a living exhibit. Like there's dirt on the ground. There's live trees in there. So it looks really nice. There is also an armadillo in there.
Woohoo! I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Pele.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah.
Pele?
Yeah.
That's a good name.
Yeah. Looks like a soccer ball.
Yeah. Rolls up into a ball.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. You'd only really see him if you got down there right when we open, because he's really out in the morning and then he goes to sleep pretty quick. But that's a fun exhibit to take care of. You do kind of tune out the bathroom, like, and everyone's like, what's it like working in the bathroom? Like, well, we're not real, like, you know, there's a glass there and you have your back to it most of the time.
Right.
But
I am curious how that works though from a more like, because we talk a lot about like behind the scenes stuff and all that kind of stuff. How does it work from a logistical standpoint? Do you have to step into a toilet to get in? I'm joking, obviously. But like, how do you get in there? Is there a keeper area? Is it separate from the bathroom? How does that work logistically?
Yeah, there is a keeper area that is separate from the bathroom. It's fairly small, but it has like a holding area in there for them, so we can bring them off exhibit if we need to do something in there, like when we replace the trees, or just, you know, and it has spaces for them at night that have more like unnatural things for them that, you know, we try to keep the exhibit space natural, so they have, you know, all their toys and stuff and blankets off exhibit, and then there's, you know, all of our keeper tools and stuff back there. So it is a tight space, but we do have a little behind the scenes space.
Okay, cool. And I have a weird question.
Yeah.
So especially kind of going the other way with the pythons in the men's room, but with both exhibits, I know that most of the zookeeping world is female, but do you ever get to the point where you have to have a male keeper in there or have a female keeper in the python exhibit? And if so, like, do you have to close the bathroom to do it, or can you pull a shade, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we do run into that. Our team is all female right now, but we have a special team here. It's the special events team, and they're kind of like a team of swings, and then they close all the events for us, so we don't have to stay late.
Nice.
But we do have many men on that team, and so they work in our areas. So yeah, typically they can only be in there before 9 or after 6. So if they're closing, they have to close cottons later. We have had a male intern as well, and we've shut the bathroom down so that way he can go in there and train or do what we need to do and not see anything. So yeah, it's either before or after hours, or we have to close the bathroom.
Makes sense. That's cool. Yeah, I have this mental image of like walking into pee and there's just a woman standing in the exhibit. And I'm like,
yeah, I'm not sure what Herp Stuff does with theirs, but I assume it's probably something similar.
Yeah, makes sense. That's really cool. I do love that exhibit. Yeah. Do you find cotton top tamarins to be just like the craziest animals to work with?
They are kind of wild.
Yeah, because the ones that I have met, they're a lot.
Yeah, especially with a lot of young ones, because we have 3, young ones. They're just kind of wild and running around all the time and jumping all over everything and peeing on us. They really like to pee on keepers, especially Oliver, the little one. He seeks you out.
That's because he likes to pee all over.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna. All right, podcast is ruined. Sorry, I'm gonna shut. Rossifari's over.
Yeah, but they're really fun though. They're very interactive. They can be a little scared of new things, so sometimes you'll put a new thing in there, and they're like, "I'm not going near that ever." Or if we put something in behind the scenes that's new, they won't come in. Like they won't even come in and eat.
Wow.
They're like, I can't. We have a little log tunnel bed. It's terrifying. Absolutely horrifying. They cannot get over it.
So as a keeper, do you ever try to figure out, like, logistically, like, what is going through their brain right now? Why is this scary, but that isn't, or whatever?
Sometimes, and then other times I'm like, y'all have got to get over this. Like, it is a bed. What are you doing? But yeah, sometimes we're just like, well, we can't give it to them, because they're terrified of it. But sometimes we at least try to figure it out.
That's so funny. I love trying to think about I love trying to think about what other people are thinking. Like when I disagree with someone on something, I love trying to get into their head and like do that. But especially with animals, it's just like, what is going through your brain hole right now, friend? Like, yeah.
Yeah, we have that issue because we also have Siamangs and Gibbons to round out, and meerkats to round out the rest of my area. But an alarm went off inside holding, and our male Gibbon wouldn't come inside because he heard it and it was scary.
Right.
Our keeper screamed when she saw there was a snake in there. He wouldn't shift in that night either.
Oh, no.
So he's like, there's something scary in there. I'm not coming in.
Oh, no. That's so
good
funny.
luck, guys.
And what do you do if an animal won't, shift in?
We keep them out.
Okay.
Yeah. So we don't typically separate the group. So it's kind of an all or nothing kind of thing. So like spider monkeys is netted in, so it's not as big of a deal. Our island exhibits, if you haven't been to Nashville, are open to air. So we prefer them to come in. But we do let security know. So they'll kind of monitor. Usually they'll come in and sleep and they're inside in the morning when we get here. But sometimes, they just don't want to.
Yeah. No, that's cool. And that's, I like that. I like the idea of having choice and control in that way, even if it's only sometimes. And are you ever tempted to use in a situation like that, like a true, like emergency recall, like the big scary one, or do you still just save that for true emergencies?
We usually save it. We're kind of in progress with working. Our curator wants all of our primates to have a solid recall, so we're kind of working on it for everybody. So we're trying to find rewards right now. That's the biggest issue, is what they will do things for. Spider monkeys in particular seem to hate everything that we've tried. So they just don't, everything that you can think of, because primates are nice because they can have a lot of stuff, but they just don't really want to do stuff. So we're trying to find out reward right now. But yeah, usually we'll save it. We would do it like if it's a thunderstorm and they have to come in, we would try our actual recall for that though.
Makes sense. No, I mean, yeah, that's kind of why I was wondering, because I know that sometimes if you use something like that too much, it can dilute the effectiveness and blah, blah, the whole thing. So yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Very cool. And then, so you said that you have meerkats.
Yes.
Did not know they were primates.
Yes.
Do they swing through the trees, and how does that? Yeah, tell me
I
about your
wish
meerkats.
that would be fun.
That would be fun.
But yeah, so it's my one crossover from chat is still working with our meerkats. So they're cool. I still love them. They're just really fun and interactive. I love our exhibit here because it's outdoors, and so they make their own network of tunnels. We do till the exhibit every 6 months, so they have to redig all of their holes, which is fun. Maybe they might be annoyed by it. I'm not sure.
In one form of enrichment or another.
Yeah, but since they're near our island exhibits, so they're just on the primate team. But they're very fun. We have a group of 6 siblings right now. But they just interact with a lot of stuff. That's why I like them so much. You can give them a feather and they're like, oh, cool. This is great. I love this. Whereas, like a cat would be like, what do you want me to do with this?
Right. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. That's really cool. And what do you do to, I know that they build their tunnels and everything, but I assume that it's an escape-proof exhibit. Is it just like a deep exhibit, or is it a high exhibit, or how does that work?
Yeah, so it is. I think in some places it's like almost 10 feet deep.
Wow. Okay.
But at the front of the exhibit, it's a lot less than that. So it's skirted underneath or concreted underneath, so they can't dig out. But we obviously monitor all of their holes and areas, and if there's limbs going into the exhibit, we'll chop them down, even though they shouldn't climb, but they can if they want to.
Right. And they're learning from their other primate friends around them.
Yeah.
So, you gotta be careful.
Yeah. But we do reward them for coming in twice a day, just so we can make sure they're all there and everybody's good. So they get rewarded for that.
Okay. That was actually the next thing I was going to ask was, when they're 10 feet deep, how do you get them? Yeah. But that makes sense. And are you guys able to track the tunnels at all? Or do you just not know what's going on in there? Just they have their tunnels and you have them inside and on the surface. Yeah,
they do. Yeah, we don't know. I think we have put GoPros down there to try to find things before, because they will take things. If you drop your phone into the exhibit, the meerkats will take it into their treasure hole, and we'll try to get it for you. But if it's too late, it's down their hole. So stuff gets dropped in there all the time. Keeper lost their keys. They're in the exhibit, and I imagine that they have just like a burrow underground with all of their treasures that they take everything as soon as they get it. So
that's amazing. I love that so much. That's really cool. Very cool. And then you said there were other primates that we didn't talk about. You said there were another species or two.
I think that the gibbons and the Siamex were the last two.
Cool. Yeah. So give me a little rundown. We talked a little bit gibbon already, getting into our Hollywood stars.
Yeah.
But so tell me about the Siamex.
Yeah, we have 2 Siamex, Muffy and Bahari. So they're on the other island next to our white cheek gibbons. It's not the same island. A lot of people think they can coexist. They cannot. But they're really fun too. Also very intelligent. Both of our gibbons and Siamex kind of have most of our training behaviors. So they'll present almost every body part. They're injection trained, all that good stuff. So they're very personable, very smart though. And so the gibbons especially will kind of one person will come in and then the other will guard the door, and then they'll switch and, grab food and run out. So it's a lot of that, just kind of working with their personalities and knowing what they're going to do and not getting frustrated when they're trying to outsmart you.
Tell me about the island structure and how that impacts keeping.
Yeah, so it was one of the first exhibits when Nashville moved to this property. So they're about 25 years old. There is a video somewhere online. You can actually see the making of the islands, which is really cool. We've watched it before. But yeah, they craned in live trees to make the island exhibit, and their holding is underneath. So
really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So they have chutes and they come in underneath, which is cool. But yeah, so when we're inside, we're underneath the island, which is cool. And we have to walk across the water to get over there. Which is kind of weird, but
that's fascinating. So, have you ever been to the Naples Zoo?
Mm-mm.
Offhand, okay. So, Naples has an entire boat ride that goes through all these different islands that are a bunch of primates, kind of like what we're talking about right here. And the way they shift them and stuff, they have these underwater bridges that they have to pull up, and the keepers go out on a boat and have to make sure they have everything for the day, or you have to go back and dock and get something. It's a really cool, really different experience. I actually got to go out on the boat with the keepers when I was interviewing there, and it's very strange. It's very cool, but and they do training from the boat and stuff. This sounds like a better system. And if an animal's sick or something, you have to shift it and get it on the boat.
Oh,
whatever.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. This sounds pretty intelligent.
Yeah, luckily for us, like our bridges they're submerged, but there's hot wire on the island side, so they won't come over, and they can't swim, so they won't get in the water. A lot of biggest question we get asked is why don't they get off the island? They don't like water. So, but the holding's underneath. So, but it's crazy having to walk across the water to get over there, because you got to take all your enrichment in, your trash, your cleaning supplies, and it's like you'll get in there and like I forgot something, and have to traipse back out and get whatever out. So, it was my first area that I was like, we'll have to do what to get where? Like, this is not what I'm used to.
I just really like the idea of keepers walking across the water. I don't know. I find that just really fun. I really do. Like, that's just
fun until you fall in.
Okay, fair.
Which I have not done yet, but some of our keepers have.
Yet.
And keys. We have buoys on our keys.
You have buoys on your keys. That's
so they don't fall. So if they fall in, they don't go all the way down.
I am always charmed by like the little things. Like the idea of buoys on a key is so great because as soon as you said your keys, I was like, it's meerkats all over again. But no, you have buoys on.
Yeah.
I could not love that more. That's really awesome. So what? I know you had mentioned early on that you're interested in like becoming a curator. Would that be like the next logical step in your progression, or career-wise, or?
I don't know. I mean, hopefully, maybe. Here, like our department structure, like our supervisor, and we have a lead keeper that are, above me, but they're both staying here for a long time. So I'm not sure where I'll end up after. But I mean, I would like it to. Like I said, I've been doing this for over a decade now. So I've been a keeper for a long time, but I still love it. So I don't know if I'm quite ready to make the jump to not being around animals yet, but it's definitely something that I'm interested in the future.
That's very cool. And what do you ever do anything to like prep yourself for that or think about that as far as like getting ready for the non-animal side of things? Or are you just like, we'll cross that bridge when we get there?
Yeah. I mean, I try to be involved as much as I can, like when like tag meetings and stuff, just, we're asking questions like, how do you make that decision? I had an old boss who like sat down with her a lot to be like, how do you make a budget? Like, what do you decide what money goes towards, or how do you decide, disciplinary action? Like, how do you know what's like worth a write-up and not? So she was really great about like kind of coaching me with that like a long time ago. And then I am a chair of the awards committee for AZAC. So nice. That has prepared me a lot for like time management and just being in charge of a big group and setting on things. So I feel like that's helping me kind of learn organization skills and a little bit of management that way as well.
Cool. Are you going to be at the AZAC conference in Akron?
I am indeed.
I will see you there, friend.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm excited. I was asked to cover that and to cover AAZV this year for the pod. Nice. And then I'm going to go to AZA too, just because why not?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
And they're all like back to back. So it's just going to be like 3 weeks in Ohio and here. And because AAZV, the Zoo Vets conference, is here this year. And I'm just going to be doing the thing and enjoying my life for like 3 weeks, hanging out with y'all.
Yeah.
Pretending I'm a real person in this world.
Yeah. Akron is where I started my career. I started as a temp keeper there. So
I forgot that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't been back there since. So I'm very excited. I know they've expanded a lot.
Dude, Wild Asia
I'm so excited.
Is killer. It is such a great exhibit. It is such a cool setup. And actually, speaking of cool exhibits and setups, that just in general, there's something about this zoo and the vibe here that I always thought was really interesting that I just wanted to get your take on, which is it's a very foresty zoo. I don't know if that's the best way to say it, but I feel like, well, you can probably describe it better than me. You're here, but you know what I'm talking about? And can you talk about what makes Nashville unique because of that?
I think we do have a lot of natural, like the most natural looking exhibits that I've seen in a lot of places. We really lean into that, like all of our structures, even though if it's not just trees, it's still, natural structures. Like Bamboo Trail has all the bamboo growth up. So you do feel kind of like you're somewhere else. And especially right now, it's really tall and it's kind of dark and it does take you to a different place. So I really like that because you do get to see the animals interacting, especially our island exhibits. I mean, where else do you see a gibbon? I don't know how tall those trees are, like 60 feet up in a tree, just swinging around.
Right.
Most exhibits with primates are all netted in because they can't get out easy. So it's just really cool to let them lean into those natural behaviors, which I think we do a pretty good job at with not just primates, but with our other animals too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And not just the exhibits, like you walk along the paths and like you said, like there are paths that are like dark, not like too dark to see, but like it's Nashville, it's sunny, it's in the 80s as I'm here today. And I can go and walk along by like where Panda and stuff is. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be in the shade and it's going to be like 10 degrees cooler and it does not suck. And it also gives this vibe where like you're walking and you don't see animals for a minute, but you're just in the woods kind of vibe. Yeah. And then you turn a corner and there's red pandas or, tigers or whatever. I feel like the tiger exhibit here is huge and completely hidden until you get to it. And then you're just like, whoa, okay. It adds a lot of spectacle
in a very natural way. I feel like a lot of times when you say spectacle with zoo, it almost has a bad, like, oh, it's fake, you know, but no, but it's like the opposite. It puts the focus on the animals, but makes it feel like when you get to different places, like it's a very special occurrence.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Very cool. Is there anything else you want to say about your team, your animals, or anything about the Nashville Zoo?
I mean, I would definitely recommend it. If there are keepers out there looking to come visit or to work here, I would definitely recommend working here. So far, it's been great. So
cool. And is there a conservation organization you'd like to give a shout out to?
Probably RayRec. So we work with RayRec for our spider monkeys. It's a place down in Peru. Our vets and stuff go down there all the time. But they do a lot of really great conservation work for spider monkeys, and because they're critically endangered, they need a lot of help. So they're rescuing orphans down there. Nashville has done a lot for them, just sponsoring them. So I will give them a shout out.
Nice, very cool. And then it is time for your second. It's time now, don't you know? We've come to the end of the show, but there's one tale left to go. You're gonna laugh and say, oh no. It's time for the Rossifari poop story.
I had to remember, I was like, what the first one I did? But then I remembered it was the bear one.
Yes.
Luckily, I haven't had many here, but I did have, it was a lemur, red ruff, not here. Working, training, and didn't realize that she had pooped down my back, neck and back, and then went to grab something and then just covered in my hand. It was in my hair, and finally went to my teammate, and I was like, there's something back there, isn't there? Like, yeah, it's all down your back.
Oh,
and
no.
I was like, thanks, lady. Appreciate you.
Oh, that's awesome. I also love that literally earlier in the episode, you're like, yeah, I get peed on all the time. And it doesn't even register. You go, I don't have too many stories from here. You get peed on all the time. You're just so used to it that you don't even think about it. I could not love that more.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming back and sharing your new place with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me
again. So then, as if that interview wasn't enough, I had the opportunity to go back and hang out with Miss Muffy. And oh boy, did I. It was such a wonderful experience. And I get to share that audio with y'all now. As you can imagine, it's not the best audio. I was using my handheld recorder, and we're outside and also wearing masks because Muffy is a primate and old. But I am so excited to share how amazing this experience was with all of you. Enjoy.
All right. So I know we already said hi or talked about this animal on the pod, but who are we meeting right now?
This is Miss Muffy.
Hi, Muffy.
Our queen, the queen of our lives.
Yes. How are you, friend? And so what are we talking about here? Because we talked about a lot of animals. So what kind of species? Let's hit it back.
She is our white-cheeked gibbon.
Yes.
The oldest white cheek in human care. She's 54 years young.
Amazing. And you can tell because she has white cheeks.
Yeah.
See, I'm good at taxonomy.
So she's got...
Hi, Muffy.
What are you doing, Muff Loves? You see her very nice setup here, all for her age.
There are so many ropes.
Yeah.
And can you explain why that is?
Yeah, so she's got some arthritis problem. So you can kind of see, that it takes her a little while to get around. So we have lots of ropes so she can get where she needs to go. But, it just helps her to be still independent.
Right, which I love so much. It's it's so many ropes, y'all. I mean, we're talking dozens of ropes, and it's gorgeous. And she can reach, and she can do what she wants.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the animal care here.
Yeah, she used to live on the island, but she's obviously been off the island for several years at this point. But she used to be out there.
Oh my goodness.
So you can give her some scratches.
Oh baby. Oh my God.
So part of our routine is just to hang with her. Give her she obviously is on some medications, and we give her extra fluids and stuff. So we do all of that for her on a daily basis. But she's the only one of our gibbons that we can kind of interact with like that.
Right.
Because the other ones are younger and more spry.
Yeah. There are certain animals that you just never think doing this that I'll get to meet and touch. And gibbons are on that list because they're, primates. But she's just so sweet.
And we come out, we watch TikToks with her, and just, literally just at the end of the morning routine is just kind of the rest of the morning is sitting with Muff, We have like our tool shed back here, so we'll do projects back here just so she can see, get more of the simulation because she is by herself. And we do bring friends by to meet her.
It's so good. You're so pretty. Yeah, you're so pretty. Did you know that?
Classic tongue off pose.
She's so good. Aw, Muffy, you're such a sweetie. Hi. This is crazy. Even though she's like older and stuff, you can really feel like the muscles. Like she is strong.
Yeah, she is. And I mean, she's like I said, still really active because they kind of give her, the tools to be more active.
Yeah.
We have to modify some enrichments and stuff for her, but it's just like an older person, so we just have different types of puzzle feeders than the other gibbons. Yeah.
Right.
But we still offer her stuff so that she still doesn't have to work for it. She loves browse, so we offer her a lot of different types of browse. And obviously a lot of comfy locations to sit.
Yes, I like her hammock. She seemed to like her hammock.
Yeah, she still loves being up high. Like, even though she's older, she still wants to be up high, just like she would be.
That's really cool.
She can sit here forever.
More scritches! There you go. There you go. She's also a lot softer than I expected. I've kind of learned that most animals, except for tree kangaroos, are way more coarse than you would expect. Yep. And she's very soft. Is that an age thing, or are all gibbons like softer? Or do you not know?
So.
Okay.
So yeah, the only time we've handled the other ones are for immobilization.
Right, I was going to say, because I know you can't regularly, but
yeah. I mean, they do have some tactile behaviors, so they will present different body parts, but like really touching them is just when they're mobilized.
Right, that makes sense. That's very cool. You're very cool. There's that tongue. Sweet. Well, thank you so much for this.
Yeah, of course.
All right. And so if that wasn't a cool enough interview, then we got to spend time with Muffy. How much fun was that? As you heard, I was having a blast. So thank you to Autumn for reaching out, for getting me that amazing experience, and for being such a great guest twice now. I'm actually going to be heading to Nashville in just a little over a week, and I'm really looking forward to reconnecting with Autumn and hopefully with Miss Muffy. That was just so much fun. Anyway, I want to thank y'all for listening. I want to thank y'all for being here. I super appreciate it. Don't forget to tune in on Friday for the next Zoo News episode, which will be coming to you from the AZA conference, which should be a blast. I'm so excited about this experience. And then the week after that, you'll be hearing from another familiar face at the Nashville Zoo while I'm in Nashville. So it should be a really, really good time, y'all. I'd like to say thank you to all of my patrons, especially my Red Panda level patrons, Dr. Laura Shank and Dr. Stephen Williamson. And don't forget, y'all, the word credits backwards is Steiderk.
The Rossifari podcast is produced, hosted, and engineered by John Rossi. Editing and fact-checking by John and Dr. Zoe Rossi. Our theme song is Sevens by Nathan Burke, performed by Nathan and John. Interrupting John theme and additional voices by Taylor Isaac Gray. You can reach John directly on Instagram and Facebook at Rossifari, or by email at rossifaripod@gmail.com. Rossifari is part of the Daydreamer Media Network. Now, stop listening to me and go visit a zoo.